Have you ever gotten news so big it completely changes your life in an instant? That's exactly what happened to Jieming and Xiaoling. Remember how excited we all were when we found out they were expecting? Well, hold on to your hats, because it's not just one baby, it's twins. Can you imagine? The joy in both families was absolutely electric. Grandparents to be on both sides were over the moon, already planning shopping sprees and arguing over who would get to babysit first. It was a beautiful, chaotic whirlwind of pure happiness. But as the initial shock and excitement started to settle, a different feeling began to creep in. Worry. To babies meant double the joy, yes, but it also meant double the expenses, double the diapers, double the formula, double the sleepless nights, and double the space needed. Jieming and Xiaoling looked around their cozy little condo, a place filled with so many happy memories of their life as a couple. They loved their home, but they knew, with a sinking feeling, that it just wasn't going to be big enough for a family affair. The reality of their situation began to hit them hard. Suddenly, the future felt a little less like a daydream and a lot more like a series of very expensive, very real challenges. The financial pressure was mounting. Jieming and Xiaoling spent countless nights at their kitchen table, surrounded by bills and spreadsheets, trying to figure out a plan. The numbers just weren't adding up. How could they afford to have everything on their current budget? The dream of raising their twin was starting to feel like an impossible puzzle. It was a tough, emotional conversation, but they both knew what they had to do. They made the heart-wrenching decision to sell their condo. This wasn't just selling a property. It was letting go of the first chapter of their life together, the home where they built their dreams as newlyweds. There were tears, of course. Packing up their belongings, they defined little mementos that brought back a flood of memories: a movie ticket stub from their first date, a silly souvenir from a weekend trip. Each box they packed felt like closing a door on their past. But amidst the sadness, there was also a glimmer of hope. They were doing this for their children, for their future. It was a sacrifice, but it was a sacrifice made out of love, and that gave them the strength to move forward. As they were grappling with this huge life change, their families, as always, were right there with them. Seeing their children so stressed, the parents from both sides knew they had to step in. They all got together, a big family meeting filled with concern and love. Ideas were thrown around, but nothing seemed quite right. And then, Jieming's dad said something that stopped everyone in their tracks. What if we all did this together? The idea was radical, almost crazy. Instead of Jieming and Xiaoling trying to find a new, bigger place on their own, why not pool all their resources? Why not sell both family homes and buy one large house where everyone could live together? At first, there was silence. Could it really work? To separate families with their own routines and habits all under one roof? It sounded like the plot of a sitcom, but the more they talked, the more it started to make sense. It wasn't just about saving money. It was about creating a support system, a built-in village to help raise the twins. The grandparents could be there every day, not just for weekend visits. The famous two homes that had defined their family for so long could finally, truly become one home. The decision was made. It was a massive undertaking, a logistical whirlwind. Of selling two properties and buying one, there were moments of doubt and disagreements over paint colors and kitchen layouts, but their shared goal kept them united. They found the perfect place: the spacious house with a big backyard, enough room for everyone to have their own space, in a huge living area where they could all be together. Moving day was organized chaos, boxes everywhere, furniture being shuffled around, and lots of laughter. It was the physical manifestation of their two families merging into one. The sign on the door might as well have said one home. It was a new beginning for everyone. The house quickly filled with the sounds of life, the smell of different meals cooking at the same time, the chatter of excited grandparents, and the quiet anticipation of the new arrivals. For Jieming and Xiaoling, the relief was immense. The financial burden was lifted, replaced by the comforting presence of their family. They weren't facing this alone anymore. They had a team, a village, ready and waiting. In the midst of all this positive change, another quiet transformation was taking place. Jiejun, who had been struggling for so long, finally took a real, determined step toward recovery. Seeing his family come together, witnessing the love and sacrifice they were making for the next generation seemed to spark something in him. He checked himself into a rehabilitation facility, but this time felt different. There was a seriousness in his eyes, a quiet resolve that hadn't been there before. He was tired of letting everyone down, but most of all, he was tired of letting himself down. He fully committed to the process, attending every session, opening up to his counselors, and facing his demons head-on. The family rallied around him, sending letters of encouragement and visiting whenever they could. They let him know he was still a part of their one home, and that his place was waiting for him when he was ready. It was a slow, difficult journey, but for the first time in a long time, there was genuine hope for Jiejun. He was rebuilding his life, brick by brick, with the unwavering support of his family as the foundation. For a while, the beautiful, peaceful calm settled over the big new house. It felt like they had finally weathered all the storms. The twins were on their way. Jiejun was on the path to recovery, and the family was stronger and more united than ever. They were settling into their new rhythm, a happy blend of two families becoming one. Jieming and Xiaoling could finally breathe, focusing on the joyful anticipation of parenthood without the crushing weight of financial stress. The grandparents were in their element, happily nesting and preparing for their new roles. It was a picture of domestic bliss, the happy ending they had all worked so hard to achieve. It seemed like all the drama was behind them, and they could finally just enjoy this new chapter. But as we all know, life is never that simple, is it? Just when you think you have everything figured out, the universe loves to throw a curveball. The peace was wonderful, but it wasn't destined to last. The doorbell rang one ordinary afternoon, and when the door opened, everyone froze. Standing on the doorstep was Xiaoning. She was back, but she wasn't alone. Beside her, holding her hand, was a tall, blond man with a friendly but slightly bewildered smile. He was clearly not from around here. Xiaoning, with a nervous grin, made the announcement. She had returned home, and she brought her new foreign boyfriend with her. The quiet, peaceful atmosphere in the house shattered in an instant. Jaws dropped. 100 questions hung in the air. Who was this guy? How did they meet? How long had this been going on? Why didn't she tell anyone? Just as one chapter was settling into a peaceful rhythm, a completely new, unexpected, and very complicated one was just beginning. The one home was about to get a whole lot more crowded and a whole lot more interesting. What will happen next? You'll have to tune in to find out. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.